Welcome all to Nurse Linda's video blog. Today's topic is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. The topic is internet for the infertility patient, friend or foe. So I'm doing this video blog during National Infertility Awareness Week, where the Resolve has kind of got a cool motto out there going, hashtag start asking. So I thought perfect timing for me to talk about a topic that I've been wanting to get out there and discuss with you guys for a while now. Okay, so internet for the infertility patient, friend or foe. All right, so short answer is friend. Okay, that's the short answer. But of course I have a much longer answer as well. The internet, social media, all of that is all very complicated for your life. I know that I will say the one thing the internet is great for, especially social media, when it comes to going through this kind of stuff, is the support. I know that when I went through a miscarriage many years ago, if it weren't for, now I'm going back in the day when we had like chat rooms and things like that, if it weren't for those areas of support, I really don't know exactly how I would have gotten through it. You know, when you're going through something terrible like that, it seems like, when I want to talk about it, when it's all bottled up in me, it seems like all I'm witnessing is regular life going on around me, and it seems like I just want to yell at people and say, stop, there's something terrible going on here, and I want to talk about it. And then there were times when it seems like those who knew kept coming to me and wanting information. I just sometimes felt like screaming and saying, there's other things that I can talk about. I don't want to talk about it right now. Well, the beauty with the support on the internet is that it was always available when I needed it to be available. And that's the beauty of it. That's probably one of the best parts of the internet, is the support you get. Now, that being said, there's kind of sometimes a twist on the support. One of the really interesting hashtags that I saw recently was social media is not real life, and that I liked that. That applied to a lot of things. That applied to the Photoshop pictures out there and all kind of things. But that social media and all of that certainly is a picture of one's reality that I choose to present. And now let's tie that into the infertility in the IVF world and all of that. And this is where I cautioned my patients so often. It could be topics like, maybe a patient wanted to discuss, I really want to transfer 3 embryos. I really want to increase my chances of being successful. And I would tell them, I'm like, listen, it's one of the worst things you can do. One of the worst scenarios you end up with is you find out you're pregnant, you go to your first OB ultrasound, and they tell you that there's 3 sacs present. Oh no, but my neighbor, or I met a gal and I was online and I saw, and it's like the Gerber baby triplets, with the beautiful, cute little strollers and the whole thing. And that certainly that does exist. But the reality is, I said, here's, of course it's the moms with these great scenarios that post, especially publicly. But what you don't tend to hear about, are the 19-week pregnancy, a woman lost it in the shower, she lost her triplets, or the pregnancies that end up that, one baby doesn't survive and the other one has got, some kind of disabilities due to premature birth. And, these women aren't so hot to get out there and publish these things publicly. So you get a very skewed vision of what reality is. So that's probably one of the most important takeaways, is I want you to realize that what you see on the internet when it comes to what's really out there with other patients is a skewed version, because just by nature of those people who opt to post and those who don't. Again, same story with, if I had a patient who was 44, 45 and she wanted to try to cycle using her own eggs. And of course, we all absolutely know somebody who's gotten pregnant, either naturally or in IVF at 44, 45, or even older, and they had a perfectly healthy baby. Everybody's heard of somebody, but the reality is that for our patients who are going through IVF, and we have certainly plenty of patients that age going through IVF, it isn't successful. There's so many stumbling blocks. If I tell you at 45, you have a single digit chance of being successful, that is what reality is. Now, as long as we know that going in, but just because you saw it out there, again, out of 100 women who tried, if 5 of them, were successful, most likely those 5 that were successful are the ones that are posting. The other 95 who failed along the way are in different some are in full denial, some don't want to talk about it, some certainly don't want to make that public even in a support group setting. So you're getting a skewed version of just how often that happens. Keep that in mind. So we want to use the internet for support. Obviously, you also want to use the internet for knowledge. You want to learn more about what these processes and these procedures are and these medications. And again, this applies to anything medical, which we all go on the internet and we tend to really just scare the heck out of ourselves by overreading things. But certainly I can't say that going out and getting more knowledgeable about things isn't certainly worth your while, because it is. It's more along the lines of that support. Oftentimes as well, patients, as especially gals who might be in some kind of like IVF support groups where everybody's reporting how they did. I know just me listening to patients talk to other patients, sometimes I hear them report things. And again, it's not that people maliciously report or underreport or overreport intentionally, but if you've watched my previous video recently where I say, listen, the infertility patient is by default, insane from these processes, and she and he, they are, sometimes they're not always accurate how they're reporting, because we have such a vested interest. We want so badly for something to be good or be better, etc. So even when you're out there, just keep that in mind, that how people are reporting may or may not. Again, you're in an IVF support group and it seems like everybody's, reporting and they've all got more than 15 eggs. Well, those gals who only had 2 or 3 eggs, maybe they're not reporting with as much frequently as the other one. So you think you're in this sole group where you hardly have anything. So just again, keep that in mind. Just a skewed version. Social media is not real life. The other thing is be wary of is you get, again, love the support, you get the support, but the support group is there to support you. Here's an example of what I'm going to tell a story about, is when I have patients who are getting, maybe it's their betas or maybe it's their first OB ultrasound, and the reality is certainly there are literally exceptions to every rule. But let's say I've got I like betas to start at 20 or something. Whatever it is, everybody gets betas done at certain, different times. But when you get your beta HCG, now if I get a beta coming in and it's a 5, well, that individual's pregnant, but it's not looking good. And it might be my experience that I have not seen a 5 turn into anything good. It doubles, it continues to double, and then somewhere along the line, she chemicals or has a miscarriage. It's just, that's been my experience. Now, and I'll always be very honest, and I'll tell you exactly what my experience with that is. And if I've had one that it did work on, I'll tell you that. And I'll always want to be hopeful with you that you're going to be the next one. But when you go out there to your support groups, etc., and you share this with them, most likely your support group is, which it's a good thing they've been your cheerleader up to this point, but they're going to continue to be your cheerleader. And I want people to be optimistic. And if that's what the reality is. I had a patient in particular who had an OB ultrasound who it wasn't going very well. It's certainly in our experience for size, heartbeat, and this happened a few times, it just wasn't going well. But when she went out to her support group, she was getting much different reactions. Again, because somebody always seemed to know somebody, or somebody herself had this happen. And again, there are exceptions to the rules. So usually we're trying to give you that I'm trying to be glass half full and glass half empty, but I'm trying to be real. I'm always trying to be real with you. And again, sometimes that support group is because they're so hard being a cheerleader for you. Sometimes it can again skew your nature, your picture of what reality is. So we just want to keep that in mind, because I've yet to meet a patient who didn't want to know what was really the truth. And again, the truth usually is, well, we're not sure, but I can at least tell you what my experience has been and what is statistically most likely to happen, just keeping things real. always saying, but we're going to, hold out hope, and we're going to hope for this, even if it's a 1% chance of something. But you're going to know it's only a 1%. I'm not going to tell you all these stories of the people who, because again, usually they don't exist. So again, even within your support groups, keep that in mind, etc. So internet, again, short answer is it is your friend. Because again, you've got that support of people. You're out there learning more about procedures, medications, and all that kind of thing. My videos are on the internet. So certainly the internet is our friend. Just, it can be your foe if you let it. So that's all, just be wary of, what the pitfalls of the internet are. And again, haven't met an infertility patient who didn't want things to be real. So there you go. National Infertility Awareness Week is an important week, so make sure again when you're in a safe place, you help spread the word, and make sure, especially if you've got success stories, everybody loves to hear that. All right, and until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.